Hello guys, welcome to another video. Rimuru x Eminence in Shadow by elite3532. Chapter 12. Third POV. A few days passed, before getting back to Midgar. A few small things happened. First, Alexia, Rose and Natsumi promised to look after each other as they went through the holy festival event together. They were inside the sanctuary and witnessed the mass destruction Shadow Garden did. Another thing is Rimuru, as he now learned more about himself, he changed his mindset a little as when he could. He sent a letter of demission to the academy. His reason? For research. He felt like he needed to know more. That at this rate he will meet a locked door, and the key to that door was the past. He has a few starting points, being the archive of Aurora, a famous figure known that have almost brought doom to the world, but also the Nebula Kingdom from his sealed memories. Even so, his goal hasn't changed. He still wishes for his family's protection. Also, after quitting Rimuru brought his own mansion in the capital, starting a new life on its own. He naturally let his family stay whenever they needed, but the main residents are Rimuru's worker, maid and his partner in life, Beatrix. She had decided to live here as most of her life goals were already achieved. She could now kinda enjoy a normal maiden in love's life. Right now, it was night time. Rimuru was sitting on his bed staring at a pile of documents. They were information he had gathered in a few days. Rimuru. MMH. He narrowed his eyes as he felt a hint of displeasure. What in his hand are the few rare archives of a forgotten kingdom in a faraway past? Rimuru had Iris's help as those information were well guarded in the royal family treasure. The kingdom had no name archived, but it was still a good try. In his hand was a list of names. The royal family of this forgotten kingdom and some of the noble. But what displeased him is that one of the names was missing. The first prince of the 7th generation. In the royal's family tree, only this name was missing. But what is more concerning is that the name of this prince's younger sister is Aurora. Rimuru. So it seems I'm on the good path. He was indeed lucky finding clues the moment he started searching for them. As for Midgar, there was nothing else about the Forgotten Kingdom. So Rimuru will have to search the other nation. Beatrix. You're still awake? Suddenly speaking up, Beatrix, who had been sleeping beside him, got up slowly. It was still night, so she rubbed her eyes cutely. Rimuru. Did I wake you? Beatrix. I think. Taking a seating position, a quick yawn escaped before she looked over Rimuru and noticed the document. Beatrix. What is that? Ancient language? Rimuru. Just for my research. Smiling, Rimuru set the documents and hugged his partner. She was wearing a light nightgown as they had a few hours early been doing some lovers' activity. Rimuru. You should sleep. Also don't forget, but we have to leave for the Oriana Kingdom in a few weeks. Beatrix. Oh, the Bushin Festival is already there? Rimuru just nodded, nuzzling in her neck. Both of them were invited at the Bushin Festival as honored guests, winner of the tournament. Also, they got quite the international reputation, so having them is always a good advertisement. Rimuru. Anyway, let Beatrix. By the way, when am I meeting your parents? At this sudden mention, Rimuru froze. He averted his eyes awkwardly as he had yet to announce this relationship to his mother. The reason being her personality. If Rimuru came back now with a girlfriend, he would have to deal with his mother's antics and teasing. This might as well be the end of his mental life. What's worse is that he can't even ask to meet Beatrix's parents first, as they are no more. Rimuru. One day. Let's not talk about that now. Beatrix. Why? I already met your brother, now just your parent. Rimuru. Beatrix. I won't take no for an answer. Seeing her pushy for the first time, Rimuru hesitated a moment. But then he understood why she was so eager to meet them. Beatrix has no parent. Her sister is also dead, leaving only her niece, yet this same niece is too busy. Sure, she has Rimuru himself, but a relationship as a lover is very different from a family-like relationship. A lover is a partner with how you spend the rest of your life. Parents and siblings are people you spend a limited time with. Beatrix just wanted to meet people she could consider as family after all those years of loneliness on her own. Rimuru. I see, then after the Bushin Festival, is that fine? Beatrix. Perfect. Smiling brightly, she bent forward and kissed him on the lips before backing down satisfied. Rimuru too was happy, after all what he also wished for Beatrix's happiness. The two would then fall asleep cuddling until the next tomorrow, where a new day started. In the morning, Rimuru left after having breakfast with Beatrix. His destination was rather unknown, as he planned to check on a few ruins from the ancient era in the outskirts of the country. But before he could leave, he was confronted by Claire. Claire. Good morning, Rimuru. Also calling by his name for the first time, she had an annoyed expression. Her anger could be justified by multiple reasons. Rimuru. Didn't expect you to be here this early in the morning. Claire. That's the only thing you have to say? First you leave the academy, then start living with the war goddess. All this without telling me. Rimuru. Oh that, and how do you know about Beatrix? Claire. Sid told me. Sighing, Rimuru closed his eyes and approached his little sister. Rimuru. You know, you are a grown girl, Claire, and? Rimuru. You and I have our own lives too, so it's normal to not be able to tell the other everything. Patting her head, he thought this would be enough to calm her, but the fresh tears appearing on her face said otherwise. Claire. You promised to wait for me at the top, so why are you leaving me now? Am I that useless? Her voice sounded really weak and that broke Rimuru's hurt. He looked down saddened and took his little sister in a hug. Rimuru. You are my cute little sister, I will never think of you as useless. Claire. Really, but you don't even pay attention to me anymore. You're always busy and those times when you hang out are no more. Rimuru. You always made me proud, Claire. I am just growing and gaining more responsibility, so we naturally spend less time together. He had to tell her this. Continuing with lies would just lead to her self-destruction. Claire didn't answer for a long minute, still looking down at her brother's arm. Rimuru. Also don't be down, at the end we are still family, you can always come to my mansion. Claire nodded hesitantly. This was clearly not enough to reassure her. And Rimuru noticed it. He didn't expect his sister to be that insecure. Rimuru. I heard you were participating in the Bushin tournament this year. Claire. Huh? Rimuru. I am invited as a guest, so I'll watch you, make me proud. Like turning on a switch, Rimuru's words managed to hit the deepest part of Claire's heart and ego. She looked up with widened eyes and smiled. Claire. I will. Rimuru. Good, I prefer my strong and confident little sister. Breaking the hug, he flashed a smile at her. This was one of the rare sincere smiles he would let out. This in itself could be considered a reward, as Rimuru had to hide behind some facade as the heir of their family. In front of the public, he had to smile and act confident even if he was not. This is why a sincere smile is rare and only a few people could bring it out. Claire blushed lightly before nodding. They shortly after parted ways, with Claire's determination at its peak. Watching her back slowly disappearing in the horizon, Rimuru dropped his smile and turned away. Rimuru. This wasn't a lie, so no need to feel guilty. He had used those words to make Claire leave quickly so he could himself leave for the ruins faster. Those words weren't empty, as he did look forward to Claire's progress, but he just didn't have the mind for that right now. A few weeks later, Rimuru and Beatrix arrived at the Oriana Kingdom's capital ready for the festival. But this happy festival turned gloomy as the news of Princess Rose attacking the Prime Minister Diome. Because of that, she was labeled as a traitor and is now being chased. This sudden betrayal without explanation set a very tense mood for this festival, though nothing was cancelled. On the other side, Sid had managed to use Shadow Garden's technology to change his physics so he could take part in the tournament without exposing himself. As for now, Rimuru was walking around the castle with Iris. Beatrix had left early to try out a new snack, or known as fast food. She was also tasked to buy some more so they all could eat together later. Diome. I am really honored to have the Princess Prodigy and one of the winners of the Bushin Festival here. Following the Prime Minister, Rimuru and Iris were given a tour of the castle, though those sweet words coming out of Dome's mouth sound suspicious. Iris. We are also thankful to be able to visit such a place. Diome. You already accepted our invitation, this is the least we could do. Rimuru stayed quiet, scanning the surroundings. He was bored as he was already among the strongest before. Now that some of his memories were unlocked, he also gained new ability and power. One of them allowed him to judge someone's strength. A simple glance and information like his natural posture, his movement and reaction speed, all were registered. And with that, Rimuru could have a rough guess of one's strength and ability. He could also see through people's lies. And Diome was clearly sweet-talking, trying to gain their favor. Rimuru. Rose isn't the type to betray her own kingdom. Coupled to this Dome's action, I felt like this festival is going to be a lot different. He thought, but then stopped on his track as his eyes met an old painting on the wall. His sudden stop startled Diome and Iris, who came to his side confused. Diome. Did this painting catch your attention? Rimuru. Yes, where did it come from? Diome. If my memories don't fail me, a merchant sold it to the king years ago. We don't know much more. Rimuru. I see. The painting represented a demon fighting up against three heroes. A reproduction of the tale of Diabolas. Staring at it for a few seconds, Rimuru sighed and was about to turn away, but then, unexpectedly, a sort of blue energy sphere started to shine. It started on the painting before coming out, approaching Rimuru. This surprised him as he looked at the two other people present, but none of them reacted, as if they couldn't see it. Rimuru did his best hiding his surprise and watched the sphere slowly entering his chest, and nothing happened. Rimuru. Huh? Iris. Is something wrong, Rimuru? Rimuru. No, nothing. Deciding to check it later, Rimuru struggled the subject off, and soon they left to continue the visit. After that, they left to watch a few first preliminary matches, and ended the day on that. Rimuru and Beatrix had dinner together, then went to sleep as tomorrow was a charged day. Speaking about tomorrow, it seems the goddess of luck wasn't with Sid, as during lunch, he found himself sitting in a luxurious restaurant with Claire, Rimuru, Beatrix, Iris and Alexia. A whole family friend lunch. Sid. Damn. Why am I here again? In the background, Epsilon was playing piano as an undercovered famous pianist. She was happy to see her lord, but upon noticing all the famous and important figure, she winced and focused on her play. Naturally, Rimuru had noticed his little brother's discomfort and Epsilon but stayed quiet. Anyway, right now they were discussing a few normal topics like Claire's success in those first days of the tournament as she passed the preliminary round like a raging wave. The subject also turned to Rose's sudden betrayal, which made Alexia flinch. She had a promise with her and Natsumi to look after each other. This also caught Sid's attention as, well, he planned to do Sid things like a badass entry while searching for Rose. After this particular lunch, everyone parted away to do their own thing. As for Rimuru, he just went back to his hotel room. There he tried to figure out what was this energy sphere, but nothing. He couldn't find anything, even after checking his body. It's as if he had a hallucination. His power didn't increase, the padlock inside him didn't move or change. Rimuru. Maybe I need more spheres like those to see its utility. But at least I got one thing from all this. Covering his mouth with his hand, his eyes darkened a little. The fact that he was able to get this from a painting symbolizing the demon Diabolas means that this demon has a connection with his past. Maybe not the demon itself, but something about the tale of Diabolas. Rimuru. Should I contact Shadow Garden? They must have gathered a lot more new intel by now. He had kept contact with Ada to develop his own artifact, but all those meetings were professional where both would indulge themselves in research. No information besides technological one. Rimuru was sure that if he asked Ada, she would surely give out a little information about the cult. Rimuru. I should contact her. There are also a few changes to make about the artifact. He didn't use his friends for his own benefit, but things must be done if needed. Beston, he couldn't consider this as use. More like a one-sided favor. Rimuru. I will need to side with Shadow Garden, but if things came down to the destruction of the cult. Staring at his hand, he was confident he could go against the cult by himself, but destroying an entire organization as influential as the cult would break the world. Politics, economy and more, also the survivor who will try to take revenge by turning the entire country against him. He has to play his card carefully, but if things came to its worst, Rimuru would have to use that. Rimuru. I would like to avoid this if I can. If the world ever went to collapse, I would need to use it. A purple-like chaos energy formed in his hand, a power that could bring the world to his knees. If Sid's atomic power represented mass destruction, Rimuru's power meant total annihilation. The world balance is important, but if this balance were to be severed and everything going down, Rimuru would have to step in and take the role of a tyrant. Using his power to hold the world hostage, he would be seen as an evil god on the outside, with the purest goal of all, pulling the remaining of the world together to rebuild it. Rimuru. Let's hope it never comes to this. Sighing, he got up and left to grab something to eat, hoping for the best and a radiant future.